How violent was the Hungarian Revolution? How violent was the Hungarian Revolution of 1956? This question takes us back to a time when Hungary was under the control of a Stalinist government. The revolution began on October 23, 1956, as a peaceful student demonstration in Budapest. Students gathered to demand reforms and the releases of detained delegates. However, the situation escalated quickly when the state security police fired on the protesters. This act of violence ignited widespread unrest across the city and the entire country. As the protests grew, armed resistance emerged. Many of the insurgents were poorly equipped, often using makeshift weapons such as kitchen tools and gasoline. They faced off against Soviet tanks and troops, leading to intense street fighting. The Soviet forces responded with overwhelming military might, including artillery and airstrikes. They fired indiscriminately into civilian areas, which led to significant destruction and loss of life. Casualty estimates from the revolution indicate that around 2,500 Hungarians were killed. This number includes many civilians, with approximately 1,569 of those deaths occurring in Budapest alone. A large portion of the casualties were young people under the age of 30, highlighting the tragic impact on the youth of the nation. The Soviet military also suffered losses, with over 700 soldiers killed and more than 1,200 wounded during the conflict. The fighting lasted until early November, with some resistance continuing in industrial towns until November 11th. The violence of the revolution can be seen as a tragic outcome of the Soviet Union's harsh suppression of a movement that sought national sovereignty and political reform. The uprising reflected widespread dissatisfaction with the Stalinist policies that dominated Hungary at the time. From a socialist viewpoint, the events of 1956 illustrate the limits of Soviet-style socialism imposed without the consent of the people. The revolution highlighted the demand for a form of socialism that included political freedom and workers' self-management. The brutal response from the Soviet Union was framed as necessary to protect the socialist bloc, but it ultimately revealed the contradictions within the socialist states of that era. In essence, the Hungarian Revolution was marked by intense urban warfare and significant civilian casualties. It was a violent struggle rooted in the desire for a more democratic and independent society, suppressed by the existing regime and its Soviet allies. The events of that time continue to resonate in discussions about socialism and the rise and fall of socialist states.